guys, my name is Tempest, and I'm the Flamewoven Alchemist, and today we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite materials to work with in Magick, glass. Let's learn some magic. So we've all seen the memes about how witches love jars, which is true. I'm 100% guilty of this. And I think a lot of us are drawn to glass containers for a reason. And that reason is that glass is a vessel. We see this throughout history, glass being used for drinking vessels, for vases, for bowls. Glass is really good at holding things. But my experience as someone who is a glass artist and works with glass on a weekly, if not daily basis, is that glass is actually a vessel for energy. And that's an incredibly useful tool when you're working with magic. So let's talk about why glass is such a really good holder for energy. And when we talk about pieces from the mineral kingdom and what their properties are, the first thing that I like to look at is their chemical composition. So we're just going to talk about clear glass today, which is basic chemical formula SiO2, right? Silicon dioxide. This is one atom of silicon to 2 molecules of oxygen, right? 2 atoms of oxygen. The combined unit is the molecule. Now, silicon dioxide, which we also know as silica, sand, quartz sand, this is a basic building block in a lot of different minerals. And silicon dioxide is kind of the amplifier of the mineral kingdom. We see this with another material, clear quartz. So clear quartz is also chemical formula SiO2, silicon dioxide. Same chemical formula between the two. The difference between the two is that quartz has a crystalline structure. Now, this is because quartz forms over a very long period of time. We're talking hundreds to thousands of years. What happens is that all of the atoms and molecules that make up the piece of quartz form and solidify into a solid very, very slowly over time. And that means that they are able to organize themselves into what we call a crystalline structure, a crystal lattice. All of the molecules within this, all of those silicon dioxide molecules, are arranged very evenly. They're in a pattern, a repeating pattern that is consistent throughout the entirety of the body of quartz. Now, glass, on the other hand, is formed very quickly. Glass is known as a supercooled liquid. What this means is that because it formed and solidified so quickly, the molecules inside of it were not able to organize into any sort of structure or pattern. Glass is what we call an amorphous solid. All of the molecules within it are kind of a jumbled mess, right? Think of it like a ball pit at a kid's play place, right? You've got all the different colors of balls, they're just thrown into a pit that's glass. Now, if you take all of those balls out of the pit and rearrange them into specific patterns, that's where you get quartz. So, same basic material, different internal structure. Now, we know that clear quartz is a really good amplifier. It takes programming really, really well. And my theory is that part of why quartz is an amplifier is that it actually is that silicon dioxide component, when paired with the crystalline structure, takes the energy, amplifies and moves it. It continuously is pulling that energy out. Now, with glass, because there is no crystalline structure, all that energy just stays, right? It's held within the material rather than being directed away and out of the material. So this is super useful if you're someone working with energy, because sometimes you want to hold on to energy for a little while. Sometimes you want to, say, for example, if you've got energetic batteries, or you've got instances where you're doing spell work, but maybe you can't do it on the right planetary day and hour, you can actually use glass to hold on to that energy to be able to pull from it later. So while quartz tends to move energy out and through it, glass holds on to the energy. But as long as you are able to actually, work with and manipulate your energy, you can pull that energy right back out of the glass. Not an issue. So that's reason number 1, why glass is such a magical material. And reason number 2 that we're going to talk about, I got to put this quartz down. It's huge. It's a chunker. So reason number 2 why glass is so incredibly useful for working magic has to do with it being an amorphous solid. Now, we've talked about that amorphous is part of that chemical structure. Due to a lot of kind of thermodynamics and phase state change information that I'm just not going to get into on this video, an amorphous solid is a material that is neither solid nor liquid. It exists in a state between the two, right? That means that glass, by its very nature, is a liminal material. And for those of you who don't know, liminal is the space between. Liminal spaces include doorways, window openings, crossroads, right? It's a place of neither in nor out, neither coming nor going, somewhere in between. So liminality really is a space of possibility, of transformation, and that's a really useful thing to be able to use in magic. So glass is an incredible ally for working magic because it already exists in that in-between state. So when it comes to working with minerals and materials in your magic, one of the things that I would highly recommend is learning to work with the spirit of the material rather than kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of breaking things down into their most basic form and viewing them as ingredients. As an animist and an alchemist, I think that it is super important to actually form a relationship with the materials rather than simply viewing them as objects to be used. My experience working with the spirit of glass is that glass is not a spirit that you petition to do things for you, right? Glass is instead a spirit who is really happy to hold space and provide the space for you to do the work. They're not going to do it for you. So those are the reasons why glass of any sort, whether it be a natural glass like obsidian or moldavite, or a man-made glass like opalite or goldstone, glass is an incredible ally for doing magical work. So I would encourage you, find the glass in your own life. See where you've held it. See what it holds. See how you can use it as an ally in your practice. And remember, keep making magic.